Wearing his director's hat instead of his SEMO hat, Clay Prindle brings us up to speed on the latest production from Civic Theater, the big musical Big Rivers. Good to see you again this week. We talked SEMO earlier this week and now theater.
Moving on to the next thing, right?
Well, you know, let's talk about the show. Because you're working with high school kids typically in this show. And do they do a couple of productions a year or just one that involves younger people?
Every once in a while. So they did The Diary of Anne Frank a little earlier, which had, I believe, 3 or 4 teenagers in the show, with the Next Wave shows, which is what we do for Civic Theater. It's middle school, high school, and then a few adults taking over some of the adult roles. So we have a very, very diverse age group coming in. You know, we have a 6th grader, and then we also have a cast member that's celebrating his 69th birthday this coming week.
Well, that makes it fun for everybody when you're working with all generations, because it's just different levels of skill. And
they can teach, you know, the older actors that have been doing it for years and years can teach the younger actors a little bit more about stagecraft and, you know, blocking and, you know, try this with your character and everything. And I encourage them to become mentors for some of these young kids because they are the next generation of actors that Evansville has.
The next wave, if you will. The next wave. Tell everybody about the show.
Big River, it's an amazing musical. You know, I've been fascinated by this show since I was in high school. It's, you know, based on Mark Twain's classic novel, Huckleberry Finn, and it's Huck and Jim traveling down the mighty Mississippi River to go and get Jim's freedom. And I think this story is so relevant, you know, nowadays because it deals with racism, it deals with slavery, it talks about, you know, the hypocrisy that Huck sees in everyone around him because they're telling him to be civilized, but yet they're the ones that have these racist tendencies or own slaves. So it's very interesting now doing this piece after knowing it for so long and seeing it from a different point of view.
Yeah, and it's important. It's interesting when things remain relevant, which is the power of theater, I think, and music and any kind of art.
And the fact that it's based off a novel that's, you know, a classic, American classic, it just kind of adds so much more depth because the kids may not have read the book before or not familiar with it. And in doing the show, they've learned a lot about, you know, American classics and American theater at that.
Well, tell us more about the musical score.
Musical score is by Roger Miller, who most people will know, you know, as a major country music star. The music score is absolutely beautiful. You have gospel, you have bluegrass, you have folk, you have all these different kinds of genres mixed together to make this amazing musical. And I'm always curious if the kids are going to step up to the challenge. You know, vocally, this show is very difficult. And I'm sitting there at every rehearsal and I'm just blown away by their voices and the emotions they put into these songs because they really are starting to understand the impact of these characters.
When does the show go up?
The show opens up on Friday, so we run all this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we open up again next week as well. So if people can't make it this weekend, there's always that second weekend option for them.
Great way to get your tickets.
Great way to get your tickets is to call the box office, you know, call the Civic Theater box office, or they can order their tickets online, or they can stop into the Civic Theater during regular business hours.
And get your tickets for the whole family.
Get them all. Get them early,
Get them all and get them early. Clay, thank you so much. And we come back. Well, let's check in with Ron Rose.
Oh, we have got ourselves a rainy, cold day. At least it's going to get cold. I'll tell you how cold coming up.